Hi everyone, thanks for joining us this evening. I'm really excited about this chat. I think the last ones that we've done, particularly online, have been with people that work with bands. And Direct Input started as a series where we were talking to bands and artists about their route through the industry. And what we've always focused on is the fact that it's not one size fits all, and there's lots of different ways of doing things. So one of the reasons why I wanted to speak to Panic Shack is just the year that they've had, really. I kind of first started listening to them based on one of their songs popping into like my Spotify algorithm playlist, and then just kind of delving in deeper, just because the music was so kind of energetic and characterful, but also as well, it's just really, really interesting when you get those bands that are telling stories that don't really get told very much. Like when we're releasing music, sometimes I think we can think about alienating audiences sometimes by going too far into different topics and different viewpoints. But I think what Panic Shack do really, really beautifully is they tell stories that a lot of kind of women have experienced in particularly. And when you're kind of amassing the audience that they have through the festivals that they've done and the tours that they've done and stuff like that, it's really, really good to get those stories out there to a wider audience as well. So it's not just preaching to the choir too. So I'm going to bring Panic Shack in without further ado. Hi.
Hey.
So what I want to do, it's so festive with the Christmas tree in the back as well. I feel like we're on some kind of sitcom.
I strategically put that there.
Awesome.
I'm a bit of a Scrooge, and my little 5-year-old niece forced me to get this really crap Christmas tree last week, so I feel like people need to see it.
It actually kind of looks like it could be a 6-foot one.
Yeah, it's not.
Tiny.
It looks quite grand. I think one of the things that we have in my family, I've got nieces, and like their parents and like my mum as well, like theme all of their Christmas decorations. So it's not fun, like having like color schemes and everything.
Yeah.
And like every time I ever put my tree up, I'm just like, get my nieces in, and my theme is like Poundland. So
yes.
Pound, and it's just like,
it very much was that.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's good fun to do it that way. Right. So I want to know about the start of Panic Shack, really, because like you've kind of come through the music scene in Cardiff. And you started in 2018, is that right? Mm-hmm. So how did Panic Shack form, and what was it? Was it in response to anything, like experiences, or like what was the deal back then for you?
What the start?
You start.
I feel like
yeah. No, Emily, I feel like I remember it was after Green Man, because it was always like talks of like being in a band and stuff like that, because we were all like really into music in Cardiff and stuff, and we all went to Green Man 2018. I feel like that was the kick up the arse. So like we got back, and I just remember putting Romy, Meg and Sarah in a group chat, being like, should we start a band? And like, yeah, okay. But none of the girls couldn't play guitar.
No, we could.
Not like saying I could really play guitar.
I mean, you were the backbone of this band.
Emily was previously in a band called John Mouse.
With her dad.
With her
my father.
And so she was really good at bass.
I know I wasn't, but
well.
You were thrown in the deep end, really.
Yeah, and like Emily had the gig experience. Like you had played a gig, so it wasn't like the most terrifying thing ever when we got up on stage.
We knew it could be done.
Yeah,
without
dying.
I still didn't know how to use an amp or anything. Like press moved on the amp.
I still barely know how to use amps.
I know. But that's how it started.
So it was you, and then we just started rehearsing some covers, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I just moved into my house, and I had like an empty room upstairs that we'd all just like go and sit in on the floor. There was like no furniture in it, and we would just like have a few drinks we needed the courage to sing in front.
There was a lot of
and
that.
then that's how it started. September 2018.
Yeah,
the 15th, because I've got a photo and it's very cute.
That's cute though, because Green Man was in August, and then we did it the next month.
A month later.
Oh, that's cute, isn't it?
We had formed.
Yeah.
But we kind of like had all the ideas there
Yeah.
for the band. We just didn't really have the music. We were like, we're going to be a girl band. We're going to be like really sassy. You know, we set up our Instagram.
We had dance moves, we had
Yeah.
outfits.
Yeah. And then it was like, right, okay, we have to actually write some songs now.
So you kind of came up with the concept of the band first, and then it was just like, right, okay, now we need to get the songs together. How
hard can it be?
It looks hard, but in reality, the hardest part is getting all of you together at the same time.
Yeah, it is.
Everything else is
Yeah.
easy.
like around jobs and everything, do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I know that's something particularly that we talk about with the artists at Future Yard, is just kind of like actually finding that time around actually having to pay the rent and like, you know, doing your kind of life admin and stuff to when that actually happens. Was there anyone in particular at Green Man that you saw that year that kind of inspired it?
Let's think. It was a great year.
Or was it more that you wanted to play
Really
it?
valuable year, wasn't
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Boyazuga, we loved.
Yeah.
They're Welsh. They're from Cardiff, and they did a big set at the Far Out tent. We loved that.
That was the year we saw what's it? You Love It. St. Vincent.
St. Vincent.
No, that was 2015.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Basically, all the Green Mans are a blur.
Yeah, they all become one.
I know.
2018 was
That.
definitely Boyazuga. I think Buzzard actually played on the Rising stage.
Charles Bradley and Willie Moneyball, like, not that they really made me want to get up and do it,
Yeah.
but like just seeing live music in general.
Yeah.
And I think like I felt like shit when I came back from Green Man, and I remember just lying in the bath like just feeling like I want to do that. I really want to do that. I knew these girls wanted to do it as well, so I think it was more just like it needs to be us.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. Like Green Man's so well curated as well, isn't it? So like I can totally appreciate that would be something that inspired you to actually go, no, we need to do this and stop just talking about it. So what was that first kind of like those first songs that came together? Like how was that like? Were you friends, or I'm presuming that you were mates already and it was a bit of a safe space to kind of like share stuff? Like what were those kind of like early incarnations like?
Our first ever song that we wrote was Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh wow.
You two had been to a jiu-jitsu class.
Our only jiu-jitsu class.
So jiu-jitsu was fresh in the mind. And at the same time, we had gone away with work. Me and Emily, we used to work at the same place. And Sarah, we worked at a popular bath bomb shop together. And basically, we were on like this works event, and we went to a bar.
We were in Manchester.
Yeah.
Away from Romy.
I know. This was sad. It was sad that you weren't there for this. Well, actually, it was kind of a horrible experience because these men just kept trying to talk to us.
I was waiting for that. I was absolutely waiting for that. Going, I'm sure Romy didn't want to be there.
It was in Crazy Pedro's.
Oh yeah.
Pizza place. So yeah, basically,
we were in the middle of writing a different song
yeah,
on a paper plate, like just
that you get your pizza on.
And it's we're working on that one as well. But yeah, we were in the middle of writing that song, and these guys just kept coming over and over, bringing us drinks. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world, but also we didn't ask for them, and it was more like them just dancing next to us. We were just like,
trying
whoa,
to get your attention, kind of.
whoa, we're gonna jiu-jitsu you.
Yeah.
Just kind of like having a bit of a play on words kind of thing.
Yeah,
And then we just got really drunk.
yeah.
I started singing it the whole way home.
Which is basically the basis of most of our early songs. We would just get drunk and just like laughing about these really silly things.
Yeah.
But things that we were experiencing, and we would just have so much fun writing lyrics because we were just like, we just thought they were the most hilarious things.
Our voice memos are just full of us in smoking areas, just singing random stuff that we don't want to forget.
Yeah.
And then we wake up like, oh my god, that was so embarrassing. Let's write a song.
Oh my god, I love that so much. That just feels like a natural way of doing it though, doesn't it? It's just like those actual moments and turning it into like those kind of fun experiences on nights out and stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
So like how long was it from you kind of starting to write songs in that spare room to that first gig?
It was a whole year, a year and a So our first ever gig was like late September 2019. I think earlier, like a few months before, we kind of announced we were a band. Like we made like an Instagram and like took a few photos and stuff. And then, it was like September 2019, we played the Moon Club in Cardiff, and yeah, I always say I literally have never felt my heart beat that strong in my chest. Like
insane.
it was, I've never felt anything like that first gig.
No, it's just like when you're going up there to do like songs that you've written yourself to people who've never heard of you, it's just so scary.
And we were really worried that people were going to think that we were a bit of a laughing stock because, like, I don't know.
I still do worry that.
I do too, actually. But it was like, because of the kind of music we were doing, and it was all sort of quite tongue-in-cheek. We were like, are people just not going to get this? And like, but we also didn't really care that much either.
Who cares, man?
So how did you feel like being inexperienced playing live in those sound checks and those kind of performances? How much of a leap was it from being in your little bubble to then having to then work with sound engineers, like, you know, kind of meeting the show reps and like? I
could never it's imagine someone knowing absolutely nothing to having to get on. We've met our fair share of horrible sound technicians, I can tell you that. But it's like we didn't even know what like reverb was. We didn't know anything. Like honestly,
I know. The sound guy asked us like, "Do you want it wet or dry?" We're like,
dry. Yeah, like truly, when we say we didn't know anything, we really didn't
even know how to knock an amp.
We didn't have amps. Like I was playing like an acoustic guitar. I found, I don't even know where I had it from. It was in my house. And like when we actually decided to do a proper gig, I had to walk into PMT and buy a guitar.
Yeah, I did too.
Still a Squire Strat, like one of the cheapest guitars there, and I still play it to this day. I don't have a fancy guitar. Like both of my guitars were under £200. Like, and it was, it was nothing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We knew nothing.
Yeah.
We still do. Except we have an impeccable music taste, and that's all that we've got to. That's all we have really, and we go to gigs a lot, so that was our knowledge.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel any better, when I first put a gig on, I got a message off one of the bands that I'd booked the day before the gig, and had to really kind of like panically ask my friends that I was sat in the pub with what a backline was.
Oh yeah, no, I
know.
It's just like
I just always felt like we were being.
Sorry, go on.
It was just like trick questions, but also it's like if you haven't had any experience in that, who's going to tell you these things? We had to just sort of like learn on the job, you know.
Someone did it to me the other day in a gig. Like this guy was setting my amp up for me. Brilliant, thank you. And then it was like my turn. He's like, "Oh, can I have some bass?" I was like, "Yeah, no problem." I was like, "It's not working." And then I like looked at the back, and he was like, "Well, you have to plug it in if you want sound." I was like, "Oh, right." Fucking hell, I didn't even set that up. Like, you haven't got me. But like, yeah, and he said it like, I know. I was like, "Oh, I'm embarrassed." Yeah, it happens to this day.
Good to know. So how were those first few shows then? Did you feel like something was landing, or did you have like some confidence knocks? Like, what was the experience?
It felt like a little something was landing.
It did. Oh my god, it felt amazing. But like every gig back then felt like such an event. Do you know what I mean? It was like we'd spend the whole day practicing. We'd turn up, we'd be like really nervous, and we'd go like on a massive night out after it.
Yeah.
Because it felt amazing. Now it's like more of like we turn up, like, oh yeah, we're on in 5 minutes. Should we just like have a shot or whatever? But back then it was like it still is crazy.
It was a novelty back then, and I love it now. But like I'm not very nervous to go on anymore.
No.
Which
I personally in the early days found it really hard, just like confidence wise. And if something would go wrong in the show, I'd take it really personally, and I'd be like, it was my fault, like I've messed everything up. And it's like nice the sort of we've come so far, and like those things don't bother us anymore. So yeah, I think in the early days, because I was sort of like I just feel like I don't know where I'm going with that.
No, I'm just thinking about you in London the other day.
Yeah, as soon as you did the giggle, I knew what you were giggling at.
It was so funny. Sarah had lost her voice, so we were like all kind of chipping in to help us.
Sarah was like, you might have to help me with this song. Like, my voice is going to go. And right before we did the song, she turned to me and she was like, this is the one I'm going to need help
Oh, really?
with.
I didn't know
And
you
yeah,
said
she
that.
on stage. And I was like, don't worry, say I've got you. I've got you. And we just got this bit and I just started belting out, singing her bit. And I was like going for it. And I turned to look at these two and they were laughing their heads off. And I just the complete wrong time.
So
yeah,
it was
I
really
still do
fun.
it.
It was
so
funny.
funny though.
It was like when it's like a song called Mannequin Man. We all like do these poses, and it was just like I couldn't.
She started shouting. We're like,
What's going on? So yeah,
yeah.
But yeah, we got used to it now. We don't
Yeah,
care about only
as embarrassed anymore.
Yeah,
So it still happens. You just deal with it a lot better and just go with it.
it's funny. We all laugh about it.
yeah, totally.
So how did you start recording those early songs that you wrote? Because obviously, if your first show was like September 2019 and you started releasing all of those songs in 2020, that's such a short turnaround. Like, what was the process like with recording?
So I think like the month we had our first gig, so this was so it was a year. So 2018 we started. We've had a year. It's September 2019, and I think I can't remember at what point we went to Tom from Buzzard, but we basically went
before we played the movie.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it must have been like a month before or something. So there's a band called Buzzard 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 that are based in Cardiff, and well, actually they've played the Future Yard when we came up to play the Future Yard. And Tom's a really great producer and has a studio that's really close to my house. And yeah, basically we went to the pub, didn't we, with him?
We were like, can we just like
pick your brains?
We want to know some things about being in a successful band because you are. So we met up with us, and then like he gave us all of his advice.
Mm-hmm. And then he was like, shall we record some tracks? And we were like, yeah. So then we went in and did Who's Got My Lighter and Jiu-Jitsu, and just literally those two tracks.
And that was terrifying
and horrible. Yeah, it was a lovely experience. It wasn't horrible.
It was horrible.
It was just like horribly terrifying. We're in a studio. Like, what?
Yeah,
I could barely play those songs as well. It was like terrible. And it'd be like it was your turn to play, so you'd like stand up in the middle of the room and everyone sat there and Tom's there on his thing, and I'm like, oh my god. It was terrifying.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And the Who's Got My Lighter, the recording that is out there is the only one, and that was the first ever song that we recorded. I'm just surprised people bloody listen.
I'm surprised people like that. Like, we couldn't even play it ourselves. Like, it's crazy. Like, when we play it live, people are like, it's so fast. It's like, no, that's so slow.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So when you were sat down with Tom from Buzzard Buzzard Buzzard, and he was kind of imparting that wisdom, like, do you think was there any like nuggets that he gave you which you've kind of used over the last few years on like what you've been experiencing? Was there anything useful that he told you?
Really, I tell you what a good one was. I remember he was like, "Don't overplay the city you're from," because it's a good piece of advice, because then like if there's no demand, like if you're doing all the time, people are not going to come and see you. You need to make people wait and want to see you.
Yeah,
I think that was the main bit, wasn't it? Because you can run the risk of not being able to expand.
You're just too like accessible then, and as well to people. So
yeah, if they've seen you last week, then they're not going to come to your gig next. So there's so much like strategy behind goes into like booking gigs and stuff that I've like. We've definitely been introduced to. Like, I would never have considered. Sorry, I'm gonna bit. I think it's past. But yeah, it was.
Do you think you need somebody to tell you that though? Because I think like for a lot of people, they think that it's ingrained into you that you need to play as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
You can be strategic about how you do that, and I think it is something that needs to be said to people, that it's like, don't do every gig that you get offered. Be strategic. Consider what you're asking people to do and how often you're asking people to come out to you. And if you like treat your local gigs as like special occasions, like you said that you did,
we did.
then you're more likely to kind of build that audience up and build an audience of people that get really, really excited about your shows, and they're going to shout about them on your behalf as well. So that's really great advice to get early on before you'd kind of really started playing.
Yeah, I'm glad he told us that.
And he also, it was Tom, right, who was like, don't be too precious about the music you put out there as well. Which, I mean, we definitely followed that.
I know.
Because I feel like, I guess if you agonize too much over things, and wanted to change things and add things, and maybe the magic gets lost a little bit.
Well, yeah, I know, like some bands, like they've sat on songs for like 3 years or more, and it kind of like still tweaking them, still working on them. It's like we will record it and release it the next month. It's like, oh yeah, Nick sounds great, Master sounds great, just get out there, like you know.
I think if you do sit on it though, you can kind of build up a little bit of an anxiety around it as well. Overthinking it. So that was going to be my next question, is like, when you had those songs in your hands, what was the next step for you? Like, how did you what did you consider when you were releasing those first singles? Like, how did you do it?
Yeah, so Who's Got My Lighter at the time got pushed to radio really quickly. It got put on, basically there's an amazing festival in Cardiff called Soon Festival, and it got put on the radio because that was coming up. And what you say?
We'd been booked.
And we'd been booked for it because there was a dropout in the festival actually. And like our now manager, so we have Club Music, is the booker of the festival, and that just got put out there and picked up.
I remember, like, I was leaving work and I couldn't have my phone in work, so I was like looking at messages leaving, like, oh my god, like we're gonna be on radio. So I start like sprinting home, and who's it?
It was me. I sprinted to your house.
My house. We're like, we're gonna be on the radio. Like, this is crazy, on BBC Wales, and we hadn't released a song, so it was just like, I don't know, mind blowing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know how Adam Walton got hold of that though.
No.
Like,
Adam's a wizard. Adam's a wizard though.
We must have put it on like the iPlayer or something like that. But it also got put on Six Music as well. Because I think Hugh Stevens was interviewing Adam about Soon Festival. I think it was. Anyway, I think that's how that worked. And then basically we officially released. So it was on the radio for a few, and then it ended up on Steve Lamac's Roundtable randomly at one point. So I don't know, like, I really don't know how you get to that point. It must have just sounded different.
They just love us, like, you know, we didn't even try.
I don't know how it got there.
Yeah.
And I will never know. And then we put it out in February 2020 before.
Yeah,
it feels like there was a lot of good timing involved in that.
Totally.
Yeah. So if you've like picked up a slot on at your local showcase festival because someone's dropped out, you're in the right position to kind of like take advantage of that. Yeah. You've got a song ready that you've already got on the uploader. You've got Adam Walton, who's just like an absolute kind of new music wizard. Hugh Stevens obviously like is kind of looking at that festival and seeing who's playing. And it sticks out, and it's a song called Who's Got My Light. It sticks out like a sore thumb. So it feels like, you know, you've got like a magic debut single, and it's that kind of like excitement of a new band that no one's heard of, that just comes out of a song like that. So I can imagine it does kind of pick up momentum by itself at that stage as well. Like,
definitely, that is how it went, because when we recorded the single, we always knew we wanted it to be big, and we wanted to like get a career out of it, but it wasn't really like, I don't know, we weren't thinking strategically at that point. We were just like, let's make some music, let's play some gigs. There was never like a plan. So then when that started happening, we were like, whoa, maybe we actually can like do this now. And it was like quite a big moment, especially playing Soon Festival as well. We were like, whoa, people are actually enjoying this. This is weird.
In Soon Festival, I remember like we were playing, because like there's no stage, it's on the floor, but there's like tables and chairs and stuff. The room was like packed out. It was like our third ever gig.
Wow.
The room was packed out with like people standing on the chairs and stuff. We were just looking at each other like, what's
going on? Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was honestly like
Still up there, definitely
Mm.
one of my favourite shows.
Yeah, because
ever.
and the thing is, we had I think 3 original songs, maybe 4 at a push, and did 2 covers, and our set was like 6 songs long.
Yeah.
And 2 of them were covers. We had no music.
I had, Let's Write a
What were you
Song.
covers?
Oh,
What covers did you do?
We did "Erase You" by ESG.
Oh wow.
And
Damaged Goods.
"Damaged Goods" by Gang. Yeah.
Before Idols did it. Yeah, just getting that in there. Don't do it anymore.
But I can imagine though, if you are that band, it's your 3rd show, and you do kind of like that sharp set. It is that kind of like very epitome of like leave the crowd wanting more.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just feel like you like use that to grab people's attention. So
Yeah.
what happened next?
What did
What
happen
did
next?
happen
Oh, I
next?
tell you what bloody happened next.
Oh.
The pandemic.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
pandemic happened next.
Mhm.
So yeah, we released our debut single was like, I actually remember being so the single was out and we went to Weatherspoons.
Oh yeah.
And you know, sometimes they have tellies in Weatherspoons and it was like saying something about coronavirus. We were like, what's
Yeah.
this? Like, what
Oh,
is
that.
this that's happening?
Yeah.
And we were just celebrating. I think we had a bottle of Prosecco. It was our
put,
first single.
we put our table number of spoons on Instagram and people were just sending us
like
drinks
peas and
and
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, that was before we went to the cottage, right?
Yeah.
Because we were recording with Tom when COVID properly happened.
Oh,
Do you
Yeah,
remember?
actually,
Because we
no.
were-
The single came out like a few days. The cottage happened.
It already happened.
It had just happened. Yeah, we went to the cottage. The cottage, as if you know why. We booked a cottage in Cowbridge. Was it Cowbridge?
posh.
Yeah.
I know. Ooh. in not far in Cardiff, and basically we had more songs that we had written, and we called it Tweak Week, and we went to go and finish writing songs for a week.
okay.
Which we really need to do again.
Yeah, we do need to do that. We need to write some
We
stuff.
needed to like get out of our houses because it was quite hard with neighbours and stuff, and like we wanted to go somewhere where it was like it was just about writing, you know.
Mhm.
But there was a lot of drinking as well.
It was like sesh week.
Yeah.
Not tweak week.
Yeah.
But
But
we did write the ick there.
We
did.
wrote well, basically 8 more songs, I think.
Yeah.
In preparation to go to Tom again and record a bunch of songs, which ended up being on basically the Baby Shark EP. There's a few Rogue songs that didn't make it on there, and
Yeah.
actually Meal Deal, our most recent single, was that was a
An
version.
early incarnation of it was written that week.
Such
Yeah.
many incarnations.
Yeah.
So that's something that you find like really works for you, is like having those kind of designated like periods where you can just escape like life for a bit and just kind of get in a room together and just focus on that writing, and then just like that comes together for you.
Totally.
I think just getting in a room together at the moment is really hard.
it's hard.
Yeah.
So it's like we have to actually like be like, okay, this weekend is solely about writing, because otherwise we all work different schedules and stuff, so it's really hard to act, and like just finding like a time for it to be inspiring as well, you know, like trying to fit in songwriting around the rest of your life is hard sometimes.
Mhm.
So it was really nice to just go and be like, well, this is all about writing and
Mhm.
music and being together. you know.
Just
Good
like
job,
having
Miguel, isn't it?
and stuff as well, isn't it?
Mm.
So the next single was Jiu-Jitsu. So that came out like kind of during the pandemic then, I'm
It
guessing.
did, yeah. So obviously the pandemic happened. We've never really known any different, because like we were really we were like months into, you know, going public with these are our songs. This is we're a band.
Literally playing 3 shows, was it?
I think we played a few more,
more.
maybe like 10.
Okay.
Did we?
But
Yeah,
that was
because
like
we
all
did,
we
like-
ever played.
We did one in Newport before.
Oh,
Can you remember
yeah.
at the
That was
pub?
doing, yeah.
Yeah. We did like a few in club, and we did do a few random ones. And it was when Jiu-Jitsu, we all recorded our that was actually quite difficult. So we
It
were
was
all
horrible.
separated, We had
Yeah.
to make a music video for it, and we all had to like video record ourselves each at home. And it's just like, it's really mortifying, like when we're not there for like moral support of each other. It's really difficult.
I felt so
Yeah.
lame doing it.
Yeah.
But it's like lip syncing into the camera, like it was so embarrassing.
Yeah, even though
Yeah.
no one's there to see it, it's
I
just
know, but like, I'm
embarrassing.
just thinking of the person who edited it.
yeah, the video editor having to do
Yeah.
that, like, I'm mortified. But yeah, so jiu-jitsu came out, and we've never really known any different, so I don't really know what to say really about the COVID thing.
When you were releasing it, did you think, right, okay, well, the first single has got this? Like, did you have ideas of what you want, where you wanted to take it, or like what you wanted it to do? Because obviously, like, without playing live, like it shifts things, doesn't it? So you're just like, right, okay, how do we get people's attention?
Yeah, I would have wanted the single to do better than it did, but like still to this day, like it's one of my favorite songs to play live. And it's a crowd favorite, really.
Yeah.
It is like a crowd favorite.
I just think like we were just, after Who's Got My Lighter, we just kind of wanted to get something else out, because you do get a bit of a buzz, like regardless of how it did, we just were like, it's time.
But also, like, during the pandemic for us, I think one of the reasons that we sort of built a following is because we were really present on Instagram, and we were sort of just documenting us having a laugh. So we were very like in people's faces on the internet. So I think like that played a big part in the success of
it did, and we had to kind of force ourselves in that during COVID. It's just quite difficult to make that content whilst you're on your own.
And there's nothing going on,
because we would normally just like film each other on nights out doing silly things, which people enjoyed a lot.
So at what point did your manager come on board?
It was quite early, actually. It was through Tom. I
need to go for a pee, guys. Sorry.
She has a small bladder. It was through. So I think Tom had just passed our songs on to his manager, and still to this day, we're with Club Music in. So there's a venue in Cardiff called Club of Bach, and they have a record label and also like a management sector that has developed alongside us. Like we've seen them like build club music basically, which is really cool. And they have a few artists on like the label, but then they've only got a few of us that they manage, including Buzzard.
So what was that like, building that relationship with like a manager that's going to kind of advocate for you, to represent you, to like
it's like,
it was a big moment.
It was a big moment. It happened like, because it happened quite early on. We've just not known any like different at the same time.
I was just like dumbfounded that someone thought that we were worthy of wanting to manage. Do you know what I mean? I was like really like, what?
Yeah. But like what we'd not realised is that like there was a space for this, especially in Cardiff's music scene and the Welsh music scene. Like, there was a space.
Yeah.
There was
filled
a space.
I don't know what the question was.
So what, at what point did you, because obviously you've got a really great booking agent, and you know you released the EP with Brace Yourself, who are awesome as well. So like, how did you start amassing that attention and like deciding that they were the people that you wanted to work with? How did those people come on board with you?
I think with Brace Yourself, our manager, they were doing PR.
Right, yeah.
Originally for the first song.
Yeah, I think it was through. I can't even be certain of this, but I think Brace Yourself worked with Hugh Stevens sometimes, and I think Hugh had just passed on our name. And they were just interested in doing PR, but they also started their Brace Yourself Records, their label. Like, I think we were the first release.
I think we might
be. Yeah. So like, it's all very. We were just all very new together.
Yeah. Adam had only just started being a manager as well.
Yeah.
So we were all like very new.
Yeah. totally.
Nice.
Like, so our manager was new to managing, and I think Brace Yourself, even though they did PR and they do it amazingly, they were new to starting a record label.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was very like, again, like, because we didn't really know what was going on. we didn't know it was. Yeah, I can see all this in hindsight, basically.
Do you think it was nice though, like being a band that were kind of new to everything and not having that experience, to knowing that the people around you as well are kind of sharing that, like as well, like all at the same time.
Everyone in our it's so crazy to say, like, we have a team of people now, but like everyone in our team are just like the loveliest people, and we feel really kind of safe and secure with them.
It's nice. And with our booking agents as well, Adam, our manager, had asked one of them, like, for a while, like, oh, can you work with this artist? And I think that she was saying, like, no, she was like moving between agencies. And then I think he'd like given up on it, but he really wanted her. And then she got back in contact with him, like, okay, I'm gonna do it now. So it was kind of like nice. So
I feel like that was really, really hard as well. Like, I think a lot of agents as well didn't really know how the live music industry was going to come back after the pandemic.
It's a big risk, I guess, for them, isn't it?
It was all within the pandemic. I remember having our first meeting with our booking agents. It was a Zoom meeting, and it was like in the summer of the pandemic. So I think that was probably the reason why things were so kind of up in the air. So
there was a lot of people moving around, and there was people that were losing their jobs and kind of like starting new agencies and picking up like you know, roles in different places. But it did feel like a time when nothing was guaranteed. So that kind of like getting that piece of the puzzle, getting that member of the team, it was, I think for so many people, was so hard because we just didn't know how it was going to come back. So did you, like in that space where you're not playing live, you've put those 2 singles out, like were you planning, like what was the vibe? Were you kind of planning on what you wanted to do once everything kind of opened up or came back?
I think we just wanted to release the EP, didn't we?
Yeah.
For quite a while, and it was quite a while in between. I think that summer we had a meeting with a booking agent, and then I think we released I Don't Really Like It as a single, and then we that was during COVID, and then I think we waited like over a year before
17 months
it was before our EP actually
we were talking about it today, funnily enough. 17 months.
I thought that was just like burnt into your head. It was just like,
I never remember, like, so I don't know how they came up with that.
So I think we were just really lucky that right before lockdown we had recorded 10 songs essentially. So we were just looking forward to being able to put that out there.
So what happened with kind of like getting back on the roads then, or getting on the roads, because you hadn't toured or anything like that? Like, you know, those few kind of shows, like what was, you know, when the world was opening up, like when did you take the plunge and kind of like start?
It was festival. It was actually class. So we went to Bigfoot Festival, and they still had like all of the guidelines in place. Like there were metal bars, like separate.
Everything was like
different bits of the crowd. Yeah, we were like pens. It was so funny. And that was like at the start of the festival. By the end of it, I remember watching Bob Villa, and there was like mosh pits. It was, like,
and then everyone was like in each other's faces.
It was like everyone was rejoicing because like
it was the like first
festival since COVID. We were there.
And it was still restrictions. I don't know how it happened.
I don't know how they.
It was an
official thing. Maybe it was some sort of kind of like
test event. Maybe
it was a test event.
But like to see, I think it was like Sports Team and Bob Villan, like to see like a mosh pit again. We were all like,
we just
can't believe it.
And we played that festival as well, so that was like our first ever like outdoor camping. To play.
Very scary. Very scary after all the time off. I remember
we were quite on the edges, weren't we?
Playing that festival differed from playing at venues that you were used to. Like, how was it different as an
Just such a vast
experience?
space. You're on. It was like quite a big stage, and you were higher. We'd only ever played like small venues with the crowd right in your face, and it was like daytime, and it was kind of just like we didn't know if anyone was going to be there. Yeah, it was quite. I remember feeling really awkward on stage.
Did you?
Yeah, just like I don't know.
I remember actually feeling okay.
I just remember loving it. Like,
Yeah.
just remember being happy to be. We were all really hungover though, so I think we were all we were all trying to drink a lager before we went down because it was a free bar as well. So we were just like,
it was our first free bar experience.
And
it was like
the only one we've actually.
only one.
Maybe
People
that's
stingy.
Yeah.
It was like I think it was like the signature brew stage. So they had like their own beers set up, and we were just trying all the ales. A lot of this
heavy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But playing was fun, yeah.
So what were you doing? What happened after that? What was your next kind of like
there was a few more festivals, I feel, but I can't remember. But then it's when we got booked for our first ever tour. We were supporting the Witches, and it was November 21.
Yeah,
fair play.
Last year.
That was exciting.
So it was our first ever tour. So we like rented a van, like a 6-seater van. We would Romy, fantastic driver, designated driver of the group, drove us up and down the country, didn't you? And
literally up and down the country.
It was our first, like, it's just so funny, like looking back. There's perhaps many a faux pas as a support act, never going on tour before.
Yes.
i.e. using somebody else's merch person.
Oh well,
yeah, things like that you just don't know. You literally just don't know.
We don't teach you that in guitar school.
No. You learn a few things.
Yeah. Spill the beans. What did you learn on that first tour?
What did we learn? To label our stuff. That was one thing I learned, that I'd never actually label your instruments.
To make sure that you're selling your own merch.
Sell your own merch. Don't get the headline band's merch person to sell your stuff and then sell probably quite a lot of stuff. Merch is our forte, I would say.
We're good at merch.
We're good at merch. We have a lot of different kinds of merch, and we're normally at the merch desk now.
We always go to the merch desk. So.
And we have lots of different designs, and people are generally really into it. And merch, to be honest, is the only way that we break even on shows and actually make money. So yeah, I learned that I couldn't use somebody else's merch person.
And more when you're selling it anyway, though.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, we're constant. Yeah,
we're signing with photos, we're selling, we just keep doing that. We're like, can you sign this one? Wait, I'm busy. Like Del Boy.
Yeah, you do. It's honestly especially this last tour, we've just come off doing 3 dates with Yard Act, and it was honestly the most surreal moment of our lives.
Bristol in particular, it was they were a
360
curve. 360
no, it wasn't. It was 180.
I mean, it was a 90-degree table, but it felt 360. So we were all
panoramic view.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. But it was we need another card reader. We have one card reader between all of us and Meg's phones. We're just
just
trying
diving
to sign,
over each other.
It was great. People want us to sign things.
People want photos with us, and we actually can't believe it. We're I'm shook.
You sure? Do you want
it? You want me to take a photo of you?
Well, how do you think your merch offers developed over the different tours that you've done as well? Because obviously when you do that first tour and you've built up most of the audience, most of your following at that point online, and also you're supporting somebody as well, you don't necessarily know what your audience looks like or who they are. What kind of merch items did you have on that first tour, and have you made any changes or made any adaptations? Or
we've definitely grown the collection, but I think on that tour was our pink ramen design, we say. So there's it's a hot, not a hot pink, a bright pink t-shirt with another pink print of ramen. It says Panic Shack.
It's got a mouth eating ramen.
Yeah, somebody eating ramen with chopsticks. And that has been quite a staple piece of merch for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And then I think we also had tote bags
Lighters.
and lighters. Yeah, we
Yeah.
had lighters.
I'm back.
Yeah, there was a lighter shortage for a bit, so we couldn't.
Yeah, you've definitely got over. If there's any band in the world that should have lighter merch, it's got to be used. Like, what about sizes? What have you found with like the sizes of t-shirts and stuff?
Sizes. We do like the sizes of t-shirts. Yeah, we do it like small to double XL,
What's most
medium.
Yeah.
And
Extra
also
large?
then large and extra large we do sell out of. I notice quite a lot. It's like
all the smalls went as well.
Yeah, it's honestly every tour it's different. Like every tour I'll run out. Pardon.
That's really interesting. Like that it kind of changes and stuff like that. I had one of our ones went on tour with John, who also on Brace Yourself, and I was like, what size t-shirts have you got? And they were like small to XL. And I was like, you need to get some double XLs, mate. They've got, that's an Idols audience. They're all like really big men.
That's all I would wear is double XL.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We go as well. I think the fashion is just like people will just wear, like I've got band t-shirts in like multiple different sizes, depending on like what the t-shirt is. And I'm like, that one's gonna look really good baggy.
Nice baby.
These dungarees, like,
but
I
also
I don't think you can go to it.
I was just going to say, we noticed on the Yard Act tour that a lot of people were coming up and asking to buy small t-shirts for like their kids, which was really cool. Which I actually think we should get kid-sized t-shirts because it was happening quite a lot.
It could say like, cool. I don't want to hold your baby on it.
Yeah.
For a child.
I love that. So
but yeah, like I think it honestly, each tour it changes. Like I'll go to one and we'll be like absolutely out of large and XLs, which feels like the dads, and like so I'll order loads of those in, and then we'll do the Yard Act tour, and then everybody wanted smaller mediums. I'm like, I don't know how to predict this.
So just having a nice spread of everything, but taking into account that people wear stuff in different ways. What was your experiences with like audiences and stuff on that first tour, given it was a support tour with the Witches?
Yeah,
who got a particular audience. Were they kind of like open to Panic Shark? Like what was?
Yeah,
I think we tend to win the crowd over with the show. That's how it's felt all along. Kind of like maybe people originally have an idea of what we're going to be like, and I think because the show is quite energetic and a bit fun and silly, I think by the end people are like, oh, actually, this is.
It's like, I don't like it, but I respect it.
Yeah. No, I think people liked it.
No, I think people did like it. I honestly, like our crowd, our audience are just the most broad audience you could ever imagine. Like it really does feel it's very inclusive. There's
you've got like the young girls like, oh my god, I really like you. Then you've got like the dads who are like, I remember punk in the 70s. And like everything in between. But it's like, it
ticks a lot of boxes.
It is, I
mean, what struck me was like, because I'd just been listening to your songs, like obviously online for quite a while before you played at Future Yard, and you played on our outdoor stage as well, which is always a different vibe. Like, you're saying about playing during the day at a festival and stuff like that. For me, being like a venue operator, like for me, it's like our live room, like inside, is just like the most special place on earth. But like, I think when I watched you on the outdoor stage, it was just like, it was very kind of like, I could be stood anywhere. Like, this is so cool and so captivating, and the energy was there, and the dance moves, and like. My face hurt from grinning. And it was what I wanted it to be. And it was just like, we were all just like, oh my God, we need to get them back and have them play inside. Like, without a doubt.
But the weather was gorgeous that day.
I remember the sunset
right across from us. We could see the sunset. It was stunning.
Yeah, it's a weird spot, our garden. It's like sometimes in the summer it doesn't feel like we're just in a kind of like, tired town in Merseyside. It's just like, we call it Beck in Vegas because it's just like, or Costa del Berco, because that garden is a ridiculous sun trap. So it is kind of like really cool when the weather's nice, when it's an all-dayer. But I remember just like thinking, like, because the song that I picked up on first was Baby. and then it was like the kind of deep dive after that of like all of the other songs. And I just remember thinking, like, I wonder if they do kind of like piss people off a bit, or like, you know, or people think this isn't for me, like this is just for kind of like angry feminists or whatever. What I got from that performance was just absolutely like you just said, it was kind of like we bring people over in the performance and people don't expect us to be like that. And it was just like it felt like kind of wholesome in a really kind of chaotic way that involved alcohol, if that makes sense.
Such a good way to sum it up.
Right,
It's kind of like, you know, it's something that you can like really, really, like you could bring kids to and stuff like that, but you're not like role models in the sense that you're like, there will be some bad behavior going down. Like,
totally. It's meant to be cheeky.
It's cheeky.
It's real, isn't it?
I don't feel like, even though you could assume that we would have bad reactions, and I mean we did with the ick, obviously, but like even with Baby, which is quite a, you know, some people, you'd assume that some people wouldn't really like what we're talking about, but actually I've never experienced.
No one's ever said any. We've literally sang it to a baby. Like we did a gig recently at a festival, and there was a baby right at the front. They must have been 2, really young. They could walk. And I was just like, am I really about to play this song to this child at the front? But actually, there's been quite a few babies at our gigs, and
they love it.
And the parents find it really funny and love it as well. And
nobody's really kicked off about it.
It's tongue in cheek.
We did make a music video that we couldn't release. We can't say any more about it.
I think it's like, you know, you look at the bands that have come through, and like, you know, we've obviously got like amazing kind of women punk bands to like look back on over the years, and they are talking about their experiences, and they are talking about kind of like, you know, they're creating punk music that's from a perspective that most punk bands can't create because they don't have those life experiences. But what I love, like kind of with the music that's coming out at the moment, and I put yous very much in the middle of that, is that you're sharing those stories and sharing those experiences that people don't. So I think when I first heard Baby, I was just like, yes, like, and it's the same with like, you know, totally different style of music, but with what like Self-Esteem does, with what Nadine Shah does. And it's just like, thank you for like kind of like just turning something that is something that people go through every day into like, you know, like a 3-minute punk song that like is performed in a set that's got choreography. Like,
I'm glad you enjoy it.
It's something really to grab hold of, and I think it's so characterful, and like it really makes you like stand out as well, which is really, really cool. I did that like trunk of punk thing on the video where I picked that, and then at the end of it, Craig Charles went, "So when are you having a baby then, Kath?" And it literally made me speechless. Like, you know, when you're just like, that's like and those interviews are so short, and I was just like,
ESG, Craig.
So like, I wanted to talk about the ick because like I don't think I've seen it, but like you've got a lot of backlash on TikTok.
You did
a lot.
It was funny.
It's a funny story actually, because we love Links, and basically Links put up their footage from Reading and Leeds, so they record the last song. And, it was just funny because like Emily was like, "Oh, like I'm gonna do that.
They did really well.
Like, you know, their TikTok's gone down really good. Like, let's do that."
So
for our
naive,
thing.
But it's like really funny because like I made that. I put it up on TikTok. Oh, Meg's going for pee. Anyway, carry on. Video up on TikTok, and then I was just leaving my house to go work a night shift, and I was like, "Ooh, it's already got like 20 likes. That's cool." And I had like one bad comment, and my housemate was like, "Don't listen to that. Don't listen to that. Like, it's fine." I come back at like 8 a.m. after my night shift. It's on like 500,000 views, like thousands of hate comments, and like, she was just like, "I'm sorry." The space of like overnight, it literally like
it was insane,
so bad. But it's so funny. Like, it's really funny to us. Like Meg said on the radio the other day, like the Saturday was totally missed. It's a joke. People are commenting, like Americans, I think, I don't know, like, "Is this a joke? Why would you talk in the movies?" It's like,
it is a joke.
It is a joke, actually. It's actually a joke. It's funny. It's just really funny.
But it was a lot, wasn't
It's
it?
just like a similar theme with like Wet Leg and stuff as well, because they have like exactly the same comments, like, oh, slaps on me and release this. Like all of those generic comments, and it's just about women.
It kind of highlighted like a wider problem to us in that being women in music,
and also being like funny, not taking yourself seriously.
There's a different
Or being
standard.
sexy.
There's just a very different standard for women and men, because there's a lot of male bands who, whether you think their music is better or not, they would never get the type of comments we were getting.
No.
And like the weirdest thing as well was that people kept saying that we were like cosplaying as the working class.
This was the hardest part.
And that was a big
I
one
know.
for us, wasn't it? Like we were like,
And they
this
were
is
like-
just mean.
They were going so far as to be like, oh, you all went to private schools. We proved that we didn't. When we done.
Oh my God.
And
it
they were
was-
like- and they were like, well, what do your parents do then?
People were like trying to Google like and find our parents and like what our parents did.
One of them commented, I found their parents, they're investment bankers in London. Like, how did you find that out? Like, that is news to me. Like, I love that.
Help me out, Dad.
I know, it's crazy.
It's kind of amazing to piss people off to that extent on like one
Have
platform
to
as
find a
well.
reason. Like, there's no way they could be in Reading and Leeds being poor from like the valleys and like everywhere else.
Yeah.
Just on like a couple of songs. Like, it's just unbelievable to them.
Yeah.
So funny.
It's mad with TikTok because it does feel like it's such a it's a good tool for so many people, and the algorithms are so kind of accurate that if you are kind of like an artist, you can kind of like build that audience on there. But it is the backlash for women artists.
It also go horribly wrong. Yeah.
Like, we've
Ridiculous.
got nice ones, but
To be honest, like when it first happened, I personally struggled with it. You were just like the best.
It riled me up.
Emily was like, no, this
keep
is
it going.
and, but like we all then sort of went through a journey, and we're all seeing the funny side now. And if anything, it's sort of given us
more.
It's like
Ammo.
Yeah, exactly.
We wrote a song about it.
Yeah.
It's not recorded.
Brilliant. Did you find people were rallying for you as well though? Like in that instance, just like people had your back and they were kind of going, "What you on about?" and stuff like that.
The ones.
They
were-
definitely did. It was
Just
the
like
hate comments
percentage was off,
100% weigh out the nice comments, but we love the people that are out there, you know. But then I learned a lot about trolling in this time. Like they will just really latch on to anyone that's going to listen and argue back to them. So it got to a point where it was like, okay, people were like demanding that they tell us that we tell them what our parents did. And I was like, this is a point where it's like really, it truly is going too far. It's like too invasive.
Because even if we do tell you the truth and like what our parents do, you're going to call us liars. So
Yeah.
what is the point?
It's also no one's business. Like,
I'm not going to look at them to this.
demanding information that they're not warranted. Like, you don't
we were
need.
like, our parents didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, it
I
just
know.
felt really wrong at that point. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, like a level of like privacy just felt like
Yeah.
it was doing,
I know.
I think that's the thing with social media, isn't it? It's trying to find that balance between like how much you want to share with the world, and then when you're put in that position where people are kind of like invasively asking you questions about your personal lives, it's just like nope.
Because we built most of our sort of following on Instagram, and Instagram always felt really safe
Yeah.
and really nice and supportive. So then when that happened, I remember just being like, oh God, I just don't know if I want to do this.
Well, we
Like, if
thought-
this is how it's going to be. I don't want to do this.
We literally thought we had been gaslit into thinking we are good
Yeah.
for the last like 3 years. We're like,
Oh my God.
We
people
should
have been
stop.
pranking us like terrible.
Yeah.
We've been punked.
We've been
Oh,
through
that's
many
amazing.
emotions since that TikTok over.
Like, I could literally talk to you for hours, but I'm not going to take up much more of your time. But what I want to kind of find out is what you've got coming up and how you're preparing for it, and you know, and what opportunities you think are in front of you that you can kind of keep building on. Obviously, don't tell me anything that's not announced.
No, we don't have pretty much everything's announced. We have our headline tour that we're just really excited about.
Yeah.
In terms of preparing for it, we should probably start rehearsing.
We need to do our new songs.
But yeah, February, and the closest to Future Yard the venue will be Jimmy's in Liverpool.
He's going to come, Cass.
February.
Yes, 8th of Feb. Come along.
Oh my God, definitely.
It'd be lovely to see you.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, our headline tour, and we've actually just sold out Nottingham today, so that's 5 shows sold out on it already.
We're very close to a couple more, so you've got to bag your tickets.
Yeah, I think like Liverpool's probably close soon, but also Glasgow and Leeds. But honestly, it's beyond our wildest dreams being able to sell out shows across the country. It's honestly insane.
We're going to try and put on a good show, and we're going to
Yeah.
practice.
Oh, you better believe we are.
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking that you're doing South by?
Yes, we're doing South by.
I know.
Yeah.
We booked our accommodation. Well, Meg booked our accommodation on flights because I trust.
Sweet.
I'm really scared about spending that much money on flights. It's scary.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But we just booked somewhere to stay and our flights over there, and we're really excited.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be incredible. Like I went with one of the artists that I worked with this year, and
Good.
it's just intense because there's just so many other artists and bands and just like musicians in such a small area that I'd say like one of the biggest things to get out of South by Southwest is the connections with other artists and other bands that like, you know, that you can kind of like tandem with like on different tour dates on you know, different opportunities and shout about each other. Like that was really, really lovely, like to have that many people that in such close proximity from the world. Like, you know, from all over the place, which was really,
it's
really
like
cool.
everyone on the scene all in one place at the same time.
And it was just
like getting to know other bands and stuff as well, don't we? That's always been a really fun part of the job.
The funny thing is like the people that you already know that will be there, you'll be like, right, we need to go and watch them on this day because like we might not see them again, and then you'll just bump into them on every street corner every day.
I love that.
This is what I'm excited.
Yeah.
But no, like, good luck with the tour. And I'll definitely see you at Jimmy's. If I can't, I'll come and see you on one of the other dates in one of the other cities though. And thank you so much for spilling the beans on like how you built your band. It's been
so if we were just like talking over each other constantly, we do that a lot.
You're spot on, absolutely perfect. Thanks so much. And just before I go, I just want to kind of we've got another direct input that's coming up in January, and this one's in person at Future Yard, and it's with Arcs, who I watched supporting Pillow Queens at Vicar Street earlier in the year, and they're also doing South by Southwest as well, so you've got to go and check them out. And then the next online direct input for anybody that's not based nearby us as well that wants to kind of tune in is on the 19th of January. And it'll be with Grace rather than me because I'll be at Eurosonic, and it's with Come Play With Me, and it's looking at gender parity in the music industry and what more that we can do to kind of like make everything a lot more harmonious and supportive for everyone. So we've got some really good stuff coming up. So check it out. And again, massive thank you to Panic Shack, and I can't wait to see you in real life. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Have a good evening. See ya.
See you. Bye.